Lost Art of Fishing Stories, written by Andrew Cox. Get your copy today. Go to Amazon and search The Lost Art of Fishing Stories. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran story at a time. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project, Veterans Voices. We're going to have one heck of a veteran story for you today. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There are a couple ways you can help support us here at the podcast. You could always go to that website, click on the one-time donation. You can click on the Become a Patron link. That's a monthly donation. Heck, you can go get you just some cool merchandise. Or heck, you can advertise right here on the podcast. And I am sporting a couple of the things here. I got a shirt on. I got the No More 22 hat going. So that's a couple of the things that you could get. But there's much more there. But anything you do would be much appreciated. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing some amazing things. Everybody needs to go check them out. Everybody needs to support them as best as you can. Their mission is incredible. And anything we can do to support them is a good day. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are. We are back. I'm excited. We got Chris here. Chris Wine, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, AJ. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I'm excited that you're here. You know, we kind of met on the Ticker Talkers is what I like to call it. But, you know, you introduced yourself as I was doing one of my lives. And, man, you jumped right on it. You were like, yeah, that's a good idea. And you jumped in here and did it. So thanks for doing that, man.
Yeah, no trouble at all. I'm really excited to do it. I think it's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, let's start at the beginning, man. Talk about where you grew up. Tell us a little bit about that. And then what drew you to military service?
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town in East Tennessee, Gray, Tennessee. It's just outside of Johnson City. Was born in 76. Seems like a long time ago. to young Marines, it's forever ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in a small community here in East Tennessee, and now growing up was my family's farm. Had been here in East Tennessee since the mid 1840s.
Wow.
It's kind of been a legacy farm up until my great uncle passed away a couple of years ago, and now it's been split up amongst the family, my cousins and whatnot. Yeah, grew up here in a farming community. Growing up was a little, it's just small town USA. It's really no better description for it. I can remember when we got our first red light. I can remember when we got McDonald's. I can remember a lot of that stuff when I was growing up. Here on the farm, growing up, our farm was a dairy farm for years.
Oh, nice.
And then when they got out of dairy business, then my uncle started putting out tobacco crops.
Uh-huh.
He managed that for several years. And then now there's just have some beef cattle that they raise here to take to market and sell. It's not near the volume that it once was. He used to do milk dairy cattle twice a day, every day for no telling how long. My dad was helping do that when he was a kid. So they were doing that for a long time. But yeah, I grew up in a small community. We moved here. My dad built a house here on the family farm in in the early 90s, and we moved up here. And then when I retired, I bought the house that I grew up in. My parents built a house 100 yards out my door.
No kidding.
So they're
That's
right next
cool.
door here. Yeah, we're all pretty close here on the farm. At the bottom of the hill was my great uncle. My grandfather's house is not even 300 yards away from my front door.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, my great uncle's house. We used to yell back and forth across the hill whenever I'd get home from school for me to either come over there or he was coming over here. But yeah,
oh man, that's great.
Pretty neat to grow up close to my grandfather's brothers. He passed away when he was 10. He was an Army veteran. But it was neat to grow up around all that and be close to family. And it was just like I said, grew up in small town USA. I went to Daniel Boone High School.
Nice.
Our rival high school was David Crockett High School. Imagine that.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're making that up. There's no way that's real.
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was pretty neat. High school, I played some baseball. And then when I graduated, I was looking for what the next chapter was going to be.
Right.
It's kind of a funny story, but so my family's primarily been Army. My great uncle was a World War I veteran. My great grandfather, World War I veteran. My grandfather, World War II veteran.
Oh wow!
So there's a kind of a legacy of service. My other grandfather served in the 50s in the Army after Korea. So there was it was a little bit. There's definitely an Army background in the family. And I was going to join the Army. Initially, my plan was to join the Guard, go to college, and then maybe try to branch out into something different because I knew the Guard could be a stepping stone if you wanted to, be an officer or something like that. It could help get you to college. And then you could, kind of do a transition into active duty full-time Army and do that. So then I started doing a little bit of soul searching and after doing a lot of thought, it was kind of like the classroom is not my place. It wasn't the time for me. I didn't have the maturity, which I think we'll talk some about that as far as the affirmation of that too. But I didn't have the maturity to go to college right out of high school. I would have failed. I have no doubt in my mind that's most likely what would have happened. Yeah. So I was looking at the Guard, was planning on still trying to do the Guard first, then go maybe active duty Army, depending on whether I liked it or not. And we had Marine Corps ROTC at my high school, and I didn't participate in the program. Every student there knew the instructors because we would see them. Right. So there's a Master Gunnery Sergeant William Kind he was the senior enlisted instructor there. Okay. And he came up to me and he said, "Warren, I heard you're going to join the Army National Guard." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "That's really awesome. Why did you choose the Army National Guard?" And I told him, that my family had served in the Army. I was kind of looking to follow in their footsteps and what my plan was. Yeah. This is the first time that I ever got messed around and on with the master guns, because he pretty much jumped in my head and did cartwheels and then jumped out. He said to me, it's really awesome that you want to follow in the footsteps of your family and, legacy of service. He said, "But don't you want to be your own man?" And I just kind of stood there for a second looking at him, and he's like, "Have you even talked to a Marine recruiter?" I was like, "Well, no, I haven't." He said, "I'm not telling you to do it. I'm saying keep your options open. And if it's something that you want to do, go sit down and talk to them and just see what they have to offer." Right. 2 weeks later, I was in MEPS.
Oh, geez.
I went and talked to the recruiting office. They kind of gave me their pitch. And it really lined up to me at that time, it lined up with, that would be really awesome to go and do. So, wow. Yeah, I went to MEPS. Initially, I was going to pursue military police. That was the first thing I was looking at. And then during the summer, we had an air show here local, and the Blue Angels were here. And of course, the Blues, when they travel, they have Marines that are integrated on the Blues team. And when I was there, I was talking to a Marine, and I said, you're a Marine, but you're with the Blue Angels. I thought they were Navy. And of course, when you're a teenage kid, you don't know the things. And he said, yeah, I'm a Marine. I got pulled in to serve with the Blues. He's like, I was like, well, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know Marines could do that kind of thing. So I went back because that was something that interested me, because it always all of the aviation movies, the Corsair is my favorite military aircraft of all time from World War II. So it's kind of like, it really hit home for me. And I went and talked to the recruiter again and was like, hey, would it be possible to look into a different occupational field? And of course, he initially was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, I'm interested in this and I want to see if this might be a possibility. So he got me in on an aviation option.
Okay.
So I came in on an aviation option, 63, 6400. And that's how I ended up enlisting in the Marine Corps and getting into the aviation pipeline.
Very nice.
That's kind of how it started. But yeah, all because a retired Master Guns Marine Corps JROTC instructor just took a minute to talk to me and throw the thought in my mind. And that's how it all kind of began.
Yeah. He was doing cartwhils in your mind. I like that.
That's right. Yeah,
good way of putting it.
He did some mental gymnastics, and that's kind of how it shaped the course.
Yeah. Now, what did the family? Because you saying that Army was a big thing in your family. So how did everybody take that?
So my dad didn't talk to me for about 2 weeks. My dad didn't serve. His concern, obviously, he grew up right at the tail end. He was born in 56.
Yeah.
So he grew up and he saw the news and the things that Marines did and things like that. So his concern obviously is the parental concern piece of it, right?
Right.
Like, the initial knee jerk of my kid's going to be a Marine.
Right.
But then the more he sat down and talked to me about it, the more excited he got. Seemed like he to this day he's been supportive of it from day one.
Nice.
Just that the initial reaction to it, I think it was more concern than anything. He just
that initial shock got him.
Yeah, because it went from I'm going to join the Army National Guard, and that was the other piece. You join the Guard, you're at home, like you're not leaving.
Right. Yeah.
You join the Marine Corps, unless you're Marine Corps Reserve, you're leaving. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it too. But yeah, it's the family's always been supportive of my military service. With the family history and things like that. Like, I know they're very proud of it, as I am.
Right.
But yeah, it was the initial reaction to it. My mom was all for it. She loved the idea.
Nice.
There really weren't a lot. I mean, to be honest, AJ, like around here, there are a couple large, like Eastman Chemical Company is here. The Mead, which is a paper plant. There's some of those kind of jobs that pay pretty decent for the area. Holston Defense, some of those type places, but there really weren't a lot of job opportunities here local. So joining the military, one, to better yourself and to set yourself up for future success potentially was a big factor. But yeah, the other piece of it is I knew that staying here wasn't going to be the best thing for me and that I needed to go do something different. So that's how it all worked.
And then now, how much time from saying you're going to join to I'm actually going to boot camp? How much time was it?
So I dipped in January that's my cousin's birthday. So January the 11th of 1995, I dipped in and I shipped 1 August. So 8 months I was in the dip.
Right on.
I would have shipped at the end of May. I got hurt. I broke my hand probably about 4 weeks before I was supposed to ship. I broke my hand, so I got delayed to ship. Otherwise, I would have gone with 5 other guys from my graduating class. We would all go together and probably would have been in the same platoon. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty wild. Yeah. Okay. So talk to me about now I'm going to boot camp, right? I imagine you did some stuff to prepare, through the DEP program and stuff like that. And then you're on your way going to boot camp. What's going through your mind?
Yeah. So prep in the prep time, like really the only I was pretty involved in sports and things like that. I didn't play a lot of high school sports, but I enjoyed doing that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I was in decent enough shape that passing the initial PFT wasn't a problem.
Right.
So I say passing, not acing. So when I got down there, I think the difference was you don't really get prepared for Paris Island heat in August living in the hills of East Tennessee in the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, there was a definite shock to the system as far as the heat goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody made a big deal about sand fleas, but we had mosquitoes around here that'd fly off with you. So that didn't bother me too much. Annoying enough as they were, they didn't really pop up until, the latter part of September, first part of October, right about the time we were getting ready to graduate, as a matter of fact. Because I can remember that. But the prep for going to boot camp was just doing the normal monthly meetings with the delayed entry program. They didn't now in comparison. I think Marine Corps Recruiting Command does a much better job of trying to prepare their kids and get them ready to go to boot camp. Because especially when I was in Texas, I would see it. It wasn't a 1 week a month or a 1 weekend a month type thing, like basically like a reservist pattern where you got together and you PT'd with with everybody there that was in the depth with you. Their depths, the depth that I saw there in Fort Worth was very active. They were out there doing something every weekend, and
no kidding.
And you could tell those kids were really tight knit. They were out when they would be running, they'd be motivating each other. There was definitely a contrast between the depth that I experienced growing up here and the depth that I saw down there in Fort Worth and how they got together. And the initial piece of going to boot camp, I wasn't sure what my ship date was going to be. We got my parents. We had a planned trip to go to Myrtle Beach. I let the recruiting office know. They're like, "Hey, you may be shipping. We'll let you know." We got down to Myrtle Beach. I had left. I don't remember if I had left. No, my dad didn't go. My dad stayed here, and my dad got the call that I needed to call the recruiting office. And I called them, and they said, "Hey, can you ship?" And it was like next Saturday, I think. There was no time, but there was maybe a week between the time they called, can you be ready to go? And this is in July. Can you be ready to go in the next, 10 days? And I said, yeah.
Wow.
So I shipped to Paris Island on the first day of August, 1995. And that's where it started there.
Well, shoot. All right. Well, walk me through showing up at boot camp. Everyone talks about that's the iconic moment, right? But kind of walk me through that iconic moment for you, and then also talk us through boot camp, the good, the bad, the ugly.
See, I don't know how your experience was, but for me, it's a blur. Like that whole first night, I can remember the things that I can remember vividly are, of course, getting your hair cut. I remember that. I remember writing my platoon number on the back of my hand. So I remember that. I remember being told to put my head down. I don't know how many times. Signing some papers, because I guess, you from my understanding, you did a tour on a drill field. So you kind of understand the dynamic of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that you don't see as a recruit. So as you guys are taking care of whatever business that you have to take care of behind the scenes, you're telling us to put our heads down and go to sleep as much as possible. Yeah. So I remember putting my head down, waking up, putting my head down, waking up. I remember going to chow the first morning. I remember getting my receiving drill instructor. I remember when our senior came in and introduced himself.
Okay. Wow.
I remember those things. But yeah, that receiving period of time, I just remember receiving being what I felt like. I was like, this is really slow paced. It's not what I was expecting. But it gets amped up a little bit there real quick.
It does. Yeah. I mean, because you were in receiving for what, four days or so?
4 days or so. I don't remember the exact number of days, to be honest. I just know that it was. I believe we were in there. probably 4 days or so, like you said. And I just remember when we did our pickup. I remember when the senior came over and introduced himself to us. That was probably maybe 2 or 3 days before they moved us over to 3rd Battalion and we kicked off. So
and then of course that's the infamous Black Friday. So now, how was that for you? I mean, it's definitely awe-inspiring when your drill instructors come out with the introduction and all that type of stuff, and then all hell breaks loose. Like what was your experience?
I mean, it was like it's controlled chaos. Looking back at it on our side of it, of course, it's chaotic. But when you look back at it in retrospect, when you really dissect it, it's controlled chaos. There was a lot of stuff going on. I can remember, the senior stepping out, going through his introductory speech.
Right.
I can remember each one of the drill instructors taking a step forward. I can remember our heavy. So our heavy was Sergeant Ramsey. I had all of my drill instructors were sergeants.
Oh, so, wow. Oh, you had a good team.
All of them were sergeants. I get to a little bit more of that later, but I got this. I saw each one of them in the fleet, either in the near term or I ended up being my senior drill instructor's monitor when I worked at MMEA, which was funny. Going through that process was, like I said, it's something that you don't ever forget. You always, no one can ever fake the funk about being a Marine. You don't ever forget your drill instructors' names. You don't forget, the experiences that you saw when you first get there. We picked up, I was laundry number 72. I was the last recruit in the platoon.
Nice.
So that I still remember my laundry number. I still remember doing the first count off that we did. I mean, there's a lot of things that I can still remember. And I actually have a copy of my pickup video. One of my seniors' family had videotaped it, and they had it on VHS, and I have it on DVD. I've got my pickup video on DVD.
That is cool.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
Combat camera at Cherry Point. They burned it to DVD for me, so I have a copy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, man, I wish I would have had something like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really neat. And of course now, and you know this from your experience, there's not a whole lot of videotaping allowed during the recruit training.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. it got a little out of hand. I'm not going to lie to you. There was some drill instructors that were filming on their phones pretty regular, and then the crackdown started, just like anything, Yeah. So.
Yeah. But went through the initial portion of recruit training. Other than being able, I was picked to be a squad leader. I think most of the reason why is because I could drill a little bit.
Nice.
And I don't know why. I just picked up on it. It was something that when we were going through the process, I picked up on it pretty well. So I ended up being a squad leader through boot camp, and I graduated. I was a PFC when I graduated boot camp. Nice.
And that was a meritorious PFC because of the squad leader?
No, I guess with the aviation option that I had, it was a contract where you were promoted to PFC. I think back then they called it like Quality Enlistment Program or something like that.
Okay.
Where I was a PFC when I graduated boot camp, and then 6 or 9 months later, I picked up Lance Corporal, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. I just remember picking it up in C school.
Right. Now, did your family or anybody come down for the graduation?
Oh yeah, my whole family was there.
Oh, did they? Nice.
Yeah, my whole family was there. So my grandparents, my grandma, my grandpa on my mom's side. My grandpa had passed when I was 10 on my dad's side. He was the World War II veteran.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away when I was 10. So he, of course, he wasn't there, but my grandmother was there. My mom and dad, my brother was there. My high school girlfriend was there.
Nice.
Her family. I mean, there was a lot of support.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of support there when I graduated boot camp.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, of course, you got 10 days on that, correct?
Yeah, sure did. So,
yeah.
Came home. And
now, did you guys drive or fly?
We drove.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not too far.
No, we left so when we left the island, we ate there in Beaufort,
Mm-hmm.
maybe in Outback or something like that. There's a little there. It was a steak restaurant. I remember going to a steakhouse. Just don't remember which one it was. I think it might have been Outback there in Beaufort.
Okay.
But yeah, we ate there and then got on the road and straight back here because from Paris Island to my house is between 7 and 8 hours depending on traffic. So it's not too bad.
Oh man, that's not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. So
yeah.
I was home, did everything it needed to, did everything that a kid that just got out of boot camp would do.
Right. Got to go show off a little bit.
Well, I don't remember blousing my blue jeans, so I don't think I took it, to the complete extreme that you see on the web in some places.
That's true.
But yeah, I remember, coming home, being home on that, 10 days.
Very
I
nice.
graduated the 20th of October of 95.
Okay.
So I came home, was home 10 days, and then went to MCT at Camp Geiger.
Yeah. Now, how was MCT for you? I mean, was it a good experience overall?
MCT was a good experience. I just remember it being cold when we went out. You go out and you do that 24-hour war or whatever they call it.
Right.
I called it back then. We went out and did that. I just remember it got really cold. And of course, the things that I wanted to do, like the first thing you kind of know, you grew up around where I grew up, is the ground is not your friend in cold weather. And you're in a fighting hole sitting down in there, and the ground is pulling all the heat out of your body. So that's not a good time.
Yeah.
I remember it being cold. I remember it being really cool to see the guys that I was in boot camp with again. The vast majority, there was a good number of them that I was in the same platoon with, MCT.
Oh wow.
My bunkmate was in the same platoon with me from boot camp. So me and him, we kind of bunked back up again. We were really good friends through boot camp and MCT and whatnot.
Right.
And just the experience of going out in town on the weekends was a little different. I mean, you're at that time I was a 19-year-old kid in Jacksonville, North Carolina. That's not the Jacksonville, North Carolina of today.
That's right.
It was definitely an experience.
Let's see, bars, tattoo parlors, barbershops, maybe an occasional restaurant. That's about the extent of it, right?
That's pretty much it. And I stayed unless we went out the gate. My dad came down. We had a holiday weekend, may have been Veterans Day weekend while we were there for MCT.
Okay.
It definitely was Veterans Day weekend. He came down while I was in MCT. So I hung out with him for a weekend. He bought me my first dress blue jacket.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He bought it for me there in there's a surplus shop in the Jacksonville Mall. I don't even remember the name of it.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I have no idea.
But they had brand new dress blue jackets in there.
Yeah.
And he saw them and he's like, "Hey, come on, I'm going to buy you your first dress blue jacket." So
that's cool.
Yep. He bought that for me. Spent the weekend with him there. And then, we celebrated the Marine Corps birthday. I can remember being in Alphas, and that's back when it was mandatory for you to hear General Zern's message. So we got in Alphas, we got in a formation. They wheeled the cake out from the chow hall. they read the message. We had, we were offered the opportunity to get some cake. We did that. They took the rest of the cake into the chow hall, and it was there for chow that evening. And then, I can remember that was the first time I heard the General Adjourn's message for the Marine Corps Ball was in November of 1995.
Wow.
So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Experience in MCT wasn't bad though.
Now, were you throwing live grenades back then?
We threw live grenades in boot camp. I don't remember throwing live grenades in MCT. I remember doing night fire in MCT with tracers because we were aiming at the rocks, trying to skip tracer rounds to see them skip up in the air.
Yeah.
We saw some of the instructors doing it, and a lot of the guys that knew how to shoot were like, "Yeah, let's give that a shot."
Like
you see the occasional tracer round,
bounce up,
hit off head off into the sky. It was a pretty good time.
That's cool.
And while I was in MCT, there was an aviation mishap. There was a crew chief. He fell out of a 53 there on New River, and they came walking. They walked through our lines when we had our perimeters and everything set up. They came through in the pretty much shoulder to shoulder because it was in the middle of the night. And,
were they looking for him? Is that what was happening?
Trying to find him, yeah, because he had fallen out of a 53, and he passed away. He didn't make it. They ended up finding him the next day. So that was that's your seeing that experience or going through that experience kind of is a real eye opener of how fragile everything really is. Like what we do is dangerous. That was one of the briefs that we got from one of our platoon leaders. There was kind of like, hey, what we do is dangerous every day. Things like this can happen. He got everybody together at 1-2 and had a prayer for the Marines family, and then they kind of shuttled us out, and then that was about it that was our last real big movement deal that we did during MCT, other than the big hike that we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was MCT was, other than that, was pretty interesting. One thing that I just remembered is that was also during a time when Clinton was talking about doing the downsize. So in that time frame, they pulled us all together and was like, look, we don't know what's going to happen. There's discussion that there may be a downsize in the military structure. We're not telling you that you're going home, but there's the potential that if they start to shrink size, initial accessions may be part of what goes home.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of an eye-opener. Yeah, they gave us that brief. We got that brief sitting outside of the armory on Camp Wagner.
Nice.
I remember that. Yeah.
Holy cow. Now, you knew what your MOS was going to be because you had already signed the contract for that. So where did you go for schooling?
Yeah, so when I saw the list of where I could potentially go for training for my MOS or the MOSs that were available, Denver, Colorado was on the list. They used to have a calibration school out there. Okay. And calibration was part of the avionics track that I was into, or that I was assessing into. So I saw that and I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool, because I've got family lives in southeastern Wyoming. So if on a holiday weekend or something, I can go up there and visit them while I'm in training. Because I joined the Marine Corps. Another reason I did it was because I wanted to get away from Tennessee and see things. Yeah. They sent me to Millington, Tennessee for my A school training.
Oh, no.
So I went from one end of the state to the other.
Well, that kind of backfired on you.
Yeah. Great plans come with great adventures. So that's how it started. Wow. I went from MCT to Millington, Tennessee for school.
Was it the same job?
So it's basically the basic avionics technician course that they have down there. Okay. And they would, if you were going to the organizational level, which is the squadron, or you were going to the intermediate level, which is your aviation logistics squadron. It depended on which track you followed. I was an I level session, so I went through the I strand of avionics technician training. I was there I got there the Thanksgiving weekend because my dad drove down there and picked me up to bring me home for the holiday weekend.
Oh, nice.
But I got down there, checked in, came home for Thanksgiving, went back. I was on barracks support through the holidays. Mm-hmm. So through Christmas, through New Year's, and maybe into the first 10 days or so of January. So I think I picked up in my class right after Martin Luther King. So right in mid-January. So I was on barracks support for about 6 weeks.
Wow. And what were you doing on barracks support? Just helping, around the barracks, clean up, move things around type of deal?
The basic type stuff, field day. And back then we waxed decks. So I was out there with Johnson's wax. I've seen a wax fireball go flying out of a barracks window before. because one of the guys melted it and it actually caught on fire, and he threw the entire tin of Johnson's wax out the window, and you just see a fireball of wax go flying. But yeah, we took care of waxing the decks. Any of the general cleanup stuff that happened on a daily basis between, the time that everybody was off deck, gone to class between 07, 07:30. We took care of anything they needed, for grounds or anything else. Because back then, as you know, we took care of the ground support was us. We took care of all the mowing, landscaping, all that stuff. Like that was you did that. I think that's why they took so much pride in it too. But we took care of all of it. So it's kind of.
I never had so much pride in sand as 29 Palms and raking sand. I'm telling you what, man. If somebody walked on my daggum sand, whoo, I'd get so mad. Oh.
Yeah, you didn't walk on grass. You had somebody come flying at you if you did something like that.
That's right. Wow. Now, how long was the school?
So I was there in Millington, classed up in the January timeframe, graduated in the June, July timeframe.
Okay.
So that was my A school. For C school, I went to San Diego, California. So I went to
that's not bad.
I went to the NAM that was out there, Naval Aviation Maintenance Training Unit. I was there. Okay. And it was the MOS that I actually assessed into was brand new. It's a consolidated automated support system. So it's a automated test equipment that's used to test aircraft components, electronic components.
I see. Okay.
So I went there for school, for training, to eventually go to the fleet to work on that system and to troubleshoot aviation assets.
Very nice. Now, how long were you in San Diego for that?
So I got to San Diego. That's another funny story. So I got to San Diego, June, July timeframe. I wasn't supposed to class up until October. So a year from the time that I graduated from boot camp is around the time frame that I'm supposed to class up for my MOS awarding school. So I called my recruiter, was like, hey, could it be possible for me to get 30 days to come home? Because I don't want to sit on barracks support for 90 days.
Yeah.
And I came home, was on recruiter's assistance, was doing pretty good the first 20 days or so. They said, hey, we're going to contact your command, see if it might be okay to extend you for another month. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, sure. So they extended me another 30 days. And,
wow.
They wanted to extend me an additional 30, but my class update conflicted. Yeah. So they got it approved to extend me an additional 14 days. So I was on RA for 74 days.
Wow.
Through the July, August, September timeframe of 96.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I'm assuming they were actually using you and you were working.
Brother, I was making phone calls. I was doing canvassing calls from the books. They trained me how to do calls. They were listening to how I would do calls. And then my calls were very basic, like, hey, I had a phone, either received a card or have your phone number here. Just wanted to touch base, see if there's any interest, that kind of thing. If you are, here's the recruiter's contact information. I was basically like, I was the finder. I was like, you go find me the guy or gal that wants to come in for an appointment. So that's what I did. They let me make phone calls. It was pretty interesting. I learned a lot from those guys, and they were good people, really good people in the recruiting office, really good Marines too.
Wow.
So yeah. And then I finally went back to San Diego, classed up in October timeframe of 96, went through the basic system training. Then did advanced operator maintainer training, which was about a 2-week course, and I graduated mid-December of 96. So it took from the time I stepped on the footprints to the time that I actually was awarded the MOS was a year, 4 months, and a handful of days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long haul on that.
Yeah. And in retrospect, coming home for the RA and being home for that time was good to be home close to family. But as far as staying engaged in the business,
right?
And because you're really impressionable that time, so I think looking back at it, doing 30 days was probably the right thing to do, but I don't know that doing the number of days that I did on RA was good for me at the time, because I think I got a little bit more relaxed than I needed to be.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, when did you find out where your first duty station was going to be?
So sometime in that period of time between August and December, I don't remember exactly when, but that's when I found out that I was going to Beaufort for my first duty station.
Oh, okay. Going back to where it all started, basically.
I went right back to Beaufort, South Carolina.
Yeah, man. Now, tell me what that was like going back there.
Got back to Beaufort, was pretty excited about it, because it's, you're new in the Marine Corps, you're going back to where recruit training was at, you're going to be that close to it, so it's really cool,
Yeah.
I'm checking into Miles 31 in Beaufort, South Carolina, and I'm sitting in the career planner's office doing my initial interview with the career planner, and I hear, "What are you doing, Wine?" And it's a voice that you don't ever forget.
No.
It was actually my senior drill instructor. He had finished up his tour on the depot, and now he is also in Miles 31 in Beaufort, South Carolina.
No way.
My senior was in the same unit as I was, or I was in the same unit that he was whenever I stepped foot into the fleet. So
you couldn't get away.
Couldn't. It was honestly pretty cool, because it was somebody that I trusted.
Yeah.
And I would go to him and ask him questions or advice, things like that. It was pretty neat from that perspective.
Right. Yeah, that is pretty cool. And then now, did you said you worked in the same shop?
No, we didn't work in the same shop.
Oh,
he was in a different MOS. He was actually he ended up being he basically ended up being in like information systems. So he was the aviation side of information systems. So he would manage things like deployed servers that would document maintenance on aircraft and things like that. At that time, they were doing a lot of our network work there within the Miles construct, because we didn't have 06s. So it was that kind of thing. And General Amos was my first MAG commander. He was Colonel Amos at the time.
No kidding. Wow.
I remember checking in, and I remember learning the chain of command, and Colonel Amos being the group commander, and he went on to be the commandant. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I never met him while he was there in Beaufort. Obviously, I was a young Marine, but it was pretty neat to look back at it, and you're one of your former MAG commanders and became commandant of the Marine Corps. Yeah,
absolutely, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Dang. Now, what was that your first duty station like? I mean, was it a good experience overall?
So that's where the maturity comes in. The experience probably would have been a lot better if I'd have been a lot more mature to handle it. Pretty wild. You're telling on yourself during a podcast interview. But my maturity level at that time, it took me a little while to catch up. And then when I say that, and just being brutally honest, I was in trouble quite a bit in the initial parts of my career. I can remember signing my first 6105 in Beaufort. And of course, when you're young like that, leadership's the problem. You're not the problem.
Right.
In your mind, in your mind, right? Like, I'm not the problem. They are. So there was a lot of, not really contempt for leadership. I wouldn't say that, because I would do what I was told. I was just doing dumb stuff. And not being receptive to, I wasn't being coachable. I think that's something that's really important in any aspect of what you do, but I wasn't very coachable, and thought I knew everything when you know nothing at all. And that's dangerous. And on top of that, thinking you know everything, and then you get promoted really fast because you're in a new occupational field.
Oh yeah.
So I was actually, my data rank for corporal was effective before I had finished the advanced. So I'd been awarded the MOS for my occupational field in the latter part of November, which made me eligible for promotion 1 December. And I was promoted
for corporal
1 December of 1996. So a year and 4 months after stepping on the footprints.
Wow.
And having not even stepped in the fleet yet. My effective date for promotion to corporal was on the first day of December, and I didn't get notified of it because I was in training. I didn't get notified of it at that time because I was in a training pipeline, and all of our records are maintained down at MCRD. So I was at Miramar. Our records are at MCRD. I didn't get promoted. I got promoted, which was backdated. I got promoted maybe in February timeframe.
Oh, wow. It took that long to catch up.
And it got backdated to 1 December.
Yeah.
They ran it through a remedial. So that's how all that worked. Yeah. And then I was promoted to sergeant a year later. So.
Wow.
2 years and 4 months in the Marine Corps, and I was a sergeant.
That is definitely fast tracking for sure. I can understand how, the maturity aspect and then growing into those ranks had to have been super difficult.
Well, not only super difficult, but you're talking about a time when you had corporals in some of the avionics occupational fields with 6-7 years time and grade. I can remember my sergeants. I had sergeants that didn't get their first look for staff sergeant until they were at high year tenure.
Wow.
So in the last possible year for them to get a look or exit service, they got a look in that year. And the majority of them got promoted because they were really, really good. Some really, really good sergeants. I mean, the sergeants that I had then were basically like gunnies today.
Dang.
It's a way to look at it. I mean, gunnies are being promoted 12, 13 years in the Marine Corps, some faster.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I never really thought of it that way before until you said that. And I'm like, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So, I wasn't doing the things I needed to do to learn my job, but I was being promoted anyway. That doesn't today, like when I look at it now, I'm like, I wouldn't have promoted me. I don't know why they did. But I was promoted really fast. You had a lot of senior guys, corporals that had a lot of more time in than I did, who knew a lot more than I did. And I'm being promoted, way faster than they are. And I haven't paid my dues yet, if that makes any sense.
Sorry. She's talking to me there.
No,
huh? My goodness, kids, man.
I got grandkids, man. I'm living the good
life.
life.
Dude, you got started early, man. I got started very late. So. Oh man. All right. So you end up getting promoted to sergeant really quick. So were you able to catch up, as far as I guess I should say you obviously did. So how long did it take for you to get caught up, right?
So when I said earlier that the maturity piece of it, going through those things, they're the problem, not me. I started hearing people say, like, you can volunteer to go to Japan. Like, you can volunteer to get orders to go to Iwakuni. And I was like, you can do that? I'm getting out of here. So I went and talked to my gunny. He told me I could call the monitor, told him I was interested in going to Iwakuni, Japan. This is in probably like the August, September timeframe of 96.
Yeah.
No, 97. I'm sorry. August timeframe of 97. He's like, you want to go to Iwakuni, Japan? I said, yeah, I'm really interested in it. And he said, once I punch these in, like, that's it. Like, it's the point of no return. And I was like, yep, I want to go. And not knowing then what I know now is it's very difficult to get sergeants into Japan. That's something to deal with because most sergeants are initial accession. They finished their initial accession. Now they're on their first reenlistment. Nobody asked for orders to Japan for a duty station incentive. So he punched the orders, and I got on a plane and flew to Japan in January of 1998. And 8 months later, August 14th, 1998, I was the subject of non-judicial punishment and reduced from sergeant to corporal. So
wow.
something you learn really quick is if that you don't become humble, our organization will humble you for you.
It's a good way of putting it, though. And it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying once you got there, you were having a little bit of a good time or something?
Initially, I was having a good time, but I just started making some really immature decisions. Drove without a license over there. I didn't cause any accidents or anything like that. That really has nothing to do with regardless if I did or didn't, that doesn't have anything to do with it. But it was what I was doing was not the right thing to be doing. And I got NJP'd and reduced from sergeant to corporal on the 14th of August, 98. Wow. And I'll never forget that date because I got awarded my first good conduct medal. And when the CO pinned it on me, he said, "I'll see you this afternoon."
No way. Wow.
Yeah, it's funny looking back at it now, but in that moment I was like, man, he knows my name. Like this is not good.
Ooh, that's pretty wild though. You get your first good conduct and then bam, NJP.
Yeah. Good conduct in the morning at the Secura Theater and NJP in the afternoon in the Mouse 12 headquarters building.
Holy cow.
So my time in Japan, good, bad, indifferent, that is kind of the defining moment of that period of time in my life was I was reduced from sergeant to corporal. I got extra. I didn't get restriction. I didn't get restricted, but I did get extra duty for 30 days.
Wow.
So I was field day in the command deck every evening. 30 days.
Yeah.
But I did. That's when Okona's tours were 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my 12-month tour. Came back from Japan. Got orders to Mouse 13 in Yuma.
Okay.
Took some leave between the time that I left Japan and the time that I transferred out to Mouse 13. I got married then.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then my ex-wife and I, we moved out to Arizona, checked into Mouse 13 out there in Yuma. And we checked in out there, went in, met my Master Guns. I remember walking in, his Master Guns, Chip Myers. I walked in, and he didn't stand up. He didn't stand up to shake my hand or anything. I handed him. I stood at his desk. I reported. I handed him my SRB. He said, I got a phone call about you, but I got to be honest. He's like, you don't look like a bad kid to me. And I said, I told him, I said, Master Guns, I made some stupid decisions before. I'm going to try to be better than what's in my book. And he's like, well, I'm going to hold you to that. And that was kind of my check-in there with him.
Wow.
Within, I don't remember, AJ, I don't remember exact dates. I've got a book here that's got all my stuff in it, but Yuma was a pretty good experience. There was some growing there that happened. There's still, I wouldn't say that I was completely out of the woods yet as far as the maturity level went, but I was a project under construction, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I had some good leaders. I had some friends around me who, were trying to get me on the straight and narrow. I ended up being NCO of the quarter for the logistics squadron there. And then I was submitted for meritorious sergeant, and had duty the day before the meritorious sergeant board. So all night long, there's no sleeping because I was being hyper focused on no IPs on my uniform, make sure everything's press everything out, polish my boots, make sure everything looks like glass. I went that board and I was just mentally like done. I remember they asked me, I may have gotten the answers to 3 or 4 of the questions right out of, I just remember there's a panel of each squadron sergeant major was on that panel.
Yeah.
and then the MAG sergeant major was the senior member.
Okay.
And I remember them all asking me questions, and each one asked 2 apiece. And I don't remember, there might have been 9 of them in there. I don't remember how many sergeants major there were in that room.
Wow.
But they asked me all the questions, and I got 4 or 5. I might have gotten 5 questions right. And one of those questions was, are you a collateral duty inspector, which is basically the guy who signs off a piece of aircraft equipment saying it's good to go to be installed in the aircraft.
Okay.
The question to that answer was yes. And that was one of the ones I got right. And they asked me if I had anything for the board. And I said, gentlemen, I know my performance on the Q&A portion of this board was terrible. I said, I don't have any excuses. I'm going to keep working hard. And if, hopefully I'll see if I don't get promoted today, hopefully I'll see you again. And I didn't get it. I came in, they for whatever reason, I was second place on the board. And God has a plan. And within 60 days, I was promoted to sergeant the second time.
Okay.
So I'm one of the few people, this is kind of funny, but I wore corporal twice and sergeant twice. So
yeah,
in my career, there's no such thing as an E11, but if you add the 2 that I had, it's pretty close.
That's good.
I try to have a good sense of humor about it, because that's all you can do now is laugh. But I'd like to go
that's
back.
True. Yeah.
I'd like to go back and slap the younger me around a little bit.
I think we all want to do that at some point in time.
Have a nice pointed conversation.
Yeah.
I did 2 years in Yuma. I was there from January of '99 until December of 2000.
Okay.
And when I re-enlisted for orders to go to be an MOS instructor. So,
okay.
I went to Virginia Beach to Oceana to be an MOS instructor. And had
very nice.
I had a pretty good tour there. As far as everything started off, everything was just clicking.
Mm-hmm.
I was the color sergeant. I got Marine of the Quarter for the NAMTRE.
Nice.
So Marine of the Quarter for NAMTRE, NCO of the Quarter for the MATSIG. Then ended up being Marine of the Year for NAMTRE, Marine of the Year for MATSIG. Got my Master Training Specialist certification as an MOS instructor. So I got all that stuff through CNAT or CNET, Chief of Naval Education and Training. I got all of that. So things went really good as far as the achievements on a professional side, but on the personal side, my wife and I got divorced. After everything was really clicking, things kind of fell apart between she and I. So we ended up getting divorced. My son at the time, he was born in Yuma in 2000.
Okay.
So when she left and took my son, everything kind of fell apart for a little while.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a time frame when your personal problems aren't part of what we worry about. It was a different time. Now we spend a lot of time, Marines are going through that kind of stuff. We make sure that they have resources. We do those kind of things, kind of talk to them a little bit, make sure that, we keep our eyes on them, because you never know how things can go south. But I just remember from a performance standpoint, like my mind wasn't in the game like it had been. And again, that's some of that maturity stuff. You're a young kid,
right?
You're married, you got your first son. Now that's, that's falling apart. Kind of took me a little bit to get everything lined back up. And then it was like, hey, regardless of what's going on now, like I have to provide for my son. I got very hyper focused on trying to be just, whatever the best version of me was going to be, good, bad, or indifferent, because we all have our quirks. I was going to try to be that. So,
right. And now when you said your ex-wife took your son, right?
Yeah. So when we got divorced, my son went to live with his mom full time, and she moved back here, like,
oh, I see. Okay.
Close to family and everything else. She moved back here to be with family.
Right.
So when she moved back, he was close to all of his grandparents, my parents, her parents, everyone. So he got to grow up around all of his grandparents. So that was a benefit of that. If there's anything good that came out of it, the good things that came out of it was him being able to be home, be close to family, and not having to move 12 times.
Yeah,
That's
true.
That's the one good thing that he never had to experience. But the bad thing that he had to experience, in my opinion, is that Dad's not there every day, and
Right.
that sucked for me. But yeah, I finished up my tour there in CNAT. I was there from 2000 until maybe the 2000 to 2000. Yeah, it had to be 03. 2000
So
to 2000.
you were there during 9/11 then?
I was there. So when 9/11 happened, I was on the stump that day. So I was in teaching. I got a knock on the hatch. One of the LPOs came and got me and said, "Hey, need you to come down. Need you to come down to the office real quick. Put them on break." So I went down, and they said, "We're not sure what's going on right now, but an airplane has hit one of the towers, one of the towers of the World Trade Center." And, while I was in the office, the second airplane hit.
Oh wow! Okay.
The second airplane hit, and then after the second airplane hit, that's when we saw that an airplane hit the Pentagon. Well, if you look, like I'm in Oceana.
Yeah.
We're in the largest naval facility on the East Coast. They've already hit the World Trade Center. They've hit the White House, or the Pentagon, excuse me.
Yeah.
So we're all like, well, what's going to happen? What's coming next? So I called my wife. I said, listen, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next little bit because we hadn't split up yet. But when 9/11 happened, I said, I'm not sure what's going on, but get Ethan and go home. So she got my son in the car and she brought him home to Tennessee. And then, after that, like after 9/11, then it was, you're chomping at the bit because you want to get out of the schoolhouse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in the schoolhouse another almost 2 years.
Yeah. And that weighs heavy on you too. So between your wife taking off and then also the, not being able to get out there in the fight type of deal, I can see how that'd be really tough, man.
Yeah. There was, that piece of it was a little difficult. It was more the personal things in my life at that time of my life were much more difficult to deal with than the professional piece, if that makes any sense. Like professional stuff, you could yell at me, fuss at me, whatever you want to do. I can tune you out long enough to go right back to probably either doing what I was doing at that time, or I'm just going to make the correction. You don't have to keep yelling at me. It's already over. Let's move on. Like I had kind of gotten jaded to that point. So I got through the schoolhouse portion of duty, and then I got orders to go down to Cherry Point, and then get to Cherry Point. I checked in there. I'm volunteering for any deployment that I can possibly get on, and I got sent on a deployment on a UDP to Iwakuni, Japan.
No kidding.
Because at that time they weren't sending large scale debts out for support. You were either going on a MU, or out of Cherry Point, you were either going on a MU or you were doing a UDP. Right. And they were sending, they were kind of treating it like a seniority thing at the time. It seemed like they were sending their more experienced guys out on deployment forward because they wanted to have that type of subject matter expertise on deck, which made all the sense in the world. At that time, it's austere environments. They're working at, they're working in areas that aren't, they're not exactly improved areas. They're working in places and taking care of things in locations where they don't have the facilities like what we would have back in CONUS. So they were sending really experienced dudes to go out there and set that kind of stuff up, and it made a lot of sense. But yeah, I went on UDP out to Iwakuni, Japan.
Now, is that a year, or is that a 6-month deal?
So it's 6 months. We got out there in the February, March timeframe, and I came home in the September, October timeframe.
Okay.
I know for a fact that it was September, October, because I was a Red Sox fan, and one of my good friends was a Yankees fan, and the Sox came back and beat the Yankees that year.
Nice, yeah.
After being down, and they came back and swept they ran a table on the Yankees. And the bet was whoever won, like you had to wear the other guy's hat. Well, I threw my hat to him, and he sat on it the whole flight coming home from. He sat on my hat the whole flight home coming back from Iwakuni that year. A good friend of mine. But yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
we got out to Iwakuni on the UDP. I went to career course first, got career course knocked out, then went on deployment. Had a really good deployment.
Mm-hmm.
My master guns for our avionics division out there, Alan Dedman. He's retired master guns now, of course. Lives right down the road from my house here.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
He was working at the recruiting office in Bristol when I was in the DEP. Actually, I helped him pack his office up and load the stuff up in his vehicle when he left. Not knowing that he was avionics, not knowing that I would ever see him again. I check into Iwakuni, and there he sits in avionics as the master guns. So it was pretty cool because I had known him when I was in high school, and he remembered me because he used to throw jabs at me. Of course, you do correspondence. They'd red ink your master guns, or somebody would red ink it and send it back to you. He'd red ink it, and then at the bottom he would always write, like, I would expect more from a Daniel Boone High School graduate. and I'd just take it to him. I'm like, where I went to school. You know what you should expect. Like, this is not, you don't need to do this to me every time. But it was really cool working with him. He was one of the master guns I really thought highly of, because I really liked the way that he conducted business, and just, he's very business oriented, but there was also the personable side to it. I feel like I could have learned a lot more from him if I'd have had more time, because the personable piece is something that I kind of struggle with. I became so hyper focused on the business piece that I neglected the maybe the friendship side of it a little bit more than I should have.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. But that was kind of also, then that was kind of the way most people did business. Like, that's the way it was, right?
Yeah.
There's more focus on the business aspect of it,
The other part of it too was if I didn't get if there was no personal relationship involved in any of it, even with my peers, if there was no personal relationship to it, you couldn't influence me. Like, like if you were doing something that was that shouldn't be done at that time, like,
that's a good point.
It couldn't influence you. And believe me when I tell you, like, if I faltered in any of that, then I would be the one that would latch onto it. Like, if I felt myself getting pulled back into it, that was how I would roll for a long time.
Yeah. Wow.
But
So it was 6 months there, and then you went back
to
Cherry Point. Okay.
Yep. Got back to Cherry Point, got off the bus, and this is kind of where things started to really take off. But I came back off deployment. I got off the bus, and my master guns, another master guns I thought really highly of, Master Guns Chittick, he stopped me getting off the bus. He said, "Welcome back. You're going to 65 Bravo," which was their Harrier Avionics Support Work Center.
Okay.
I had been in 64 Bravo, which was their EA6B Support Work Center, the Prowler. So we had the Prowler shop. Those guys would work on all the avionics tactical jamming system for the Prowler.
Right.
I got pulled out of that shop, and I went over to work in the Harrier Work Center. Ended up being one of the best teams I've ever worked with.
Nice.
I don't consider, the Master Guns chevron on the wall back there, like, the teams that I've been on are the reason that I ended up becoming a Master Guns. You start to, that's something that I think comes with time. If you spend a lot of time in the initial part of your career focusing on yourself, self-improvement, doing the things you need to do to get promoted, those kind of things, and then development piece and enjoying the teams you're on, like, that comes later. And that's where that started for me. I had very nice. I had a group of guys in there that the programs weren't doing the best. They're kind of behind on a lot of there was a pretty significant backlog of maintenance that needed to be worked. We had aircraft on the line that were waiting on a lot of parts. Those guys worked really hard, guys and gals. We had over 50 Marines in that shop. And they completely turned it around. It ended up being the model work center in my opinion, it was the model work center of the VAMPAD. I don't know what other people's opinion would be, but our shop was clean. They were passing all their maintenance inspections. Our workload, the workload got down. We got it down to as low as 12 items, and in a large scale mag like that, that's unheard of. it wasn't me, it was them. They just
Yeah.
did a fantastic job.
Now, at this point, you were what rank?
I was a staff sergeant at this
Okay.
point. So I'm sorry to jump around so
No,
much.
you're good. You're good.
I'm probably throwing the podcast off a little bit.
No, you're not. No. There's no throwing the podcast off. Don't worry about that.
I got promoted to staff sergeant. I don't mean to backtrack on you. I guess I need to be more focused on the timeline piece, but when man, so my first look for staff sergeant, this is how things went. I went and took my photo.
Okay.
My gunny at the time went with me, took my photo, black and white. Remember, they printed them.
Okay. Yeah.
Had my black and white photo, my little card with all my little white letters on it, made sure all that was correct, got the picture taken, everything was square. Take it over to, it gets developed, receive it. I take it over to S1. I give it to the S1 chief, because then the S1 chief would compile every photograph that had to be done, and they would send it to promotions branch.
Right.
Not our S1 chief.
Oh, no.
So my first look, it ended up being, fortunately, my only look for staff sergeant. I didn't think I was going to get promoted for two reasons. One, I found out that my photo had not been sent after continuously calling, knowing that I had taken it to our S1 chief. That individual got fired, by the way, which was for good reason.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that only makes sense.
photo didn't get sent in, and I had been NJP'd within the last, that was 98, so 5 years or so.
Yeah.
So in my mind, there's no way that I'm getting promoted. None. Not knowing that my sergeant major had called promotions branch to tell them that our photos had not been mailed in, that he had just found out. And I'm not sure how he got our photos up to them after the deadline, but he got our photos to them after the deadline. And I don't know what he did. It was Sergeant Major Robbins. He ended up being he ended up being a sergeant major down on Paris Island before he retired. He might have been, I can't remember if he was the regimental sergeant major or which he ended up being, but really awesome guy. But somehow our photos got to promotions branch, and
that's awesome. Good for
him. I guess the board viewed it that, my performance had been good enough since the time that I was NJP'd. To the time, like they always tell you, it's all about the number of votes you get. So I got the votes to get promoted to staff sergeant. I got promoted. Right. But yeah, it was that day the message came out, and I went to the LPO, because even my leadership had said, like, don't expect to see your name on the list. You're not getting promoted with an NJP in your book. It's probably going to be, you're probably going to take 2 or 3 Ps before you get selected for promotion. And I was kind of like, okay, that's part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I went home that day when the message came out. I didn't even read it.
No kidding.
I went to the LPO, and I was like, hey, the staff sergeant message is out. I was like, I know based on everything that everybody's been telling me, like, there's no way that I'm getting promoted. I'm going home. So I left. I went to the house, and when I got home, that was the time of answering machines.
Yeah.
Blinking. So I hit the play button, and it's my OIC. And he said, Sergeant Wine, I don't know why it is that it's, 14:30 in the afternoon, and I'm having to hunt for you to congratulate you for being selected for promotion. I would expect a Marine who is selected for staff sergeant to be at his appointed place of duty. Get in my office.
Oh, geez.
But he wasn't doing it in a way to chew my butt. He was doing it in a way to like, he was laughing when he left the message.
Yeah.
I walked into his office, and I said, sir, I apologize for leaving. He said, did you even read the list? I said, no. You and everyone else told me that there's probably, like there's pretty much zero chance that I'm getting selected on the first go. And he just laughed at me and shook my hand. Congratulations. And he said, now you can go home. So after I drove home, I drove home. I came back, and I shook his hand, and he told me I could go home for the day.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah,
Holy cow.
I got promoted to staff sergeant while I was
Okay.
still there in Virginia Beach, and then I transferred.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, that's pretty wild though.
Yeah.
You know, and that in my opinion, that goes to show that NJP shouldn't be an end all type of situation.
Yeah, that's
you made a mistake in a certain point of time. Okay, you recovered from said mistake and you moved on. That's how it should be, in my opinion. But
yeah, that's one thing that if I could tell, I'll get to that later. But that's one thing that I think the newer generation of Marines need to understand is that as competitive as retention has been made with tier ratings and things like that, you can fall and get back up, but if you fall and stay down, then that's on you.
True. Yeah.
It's on you. You're never done. They teach us that, right? That's
right.
One of the things that they teach us in boot camp is you're never done. Well, if you're never done, then you're never done. Don't treat. If I'm truly never done, then don't treat me that way.
Yeah, it's a good point.
There's something that came up in one of your in one of your campfires that you had recently. I heard you guys talking about adversity and how you treat people after the fact. And I can tell you personal experience, like the things that I heard the Sergeant Major say and a couple others on the panel say, I wish that some of the leadership that I'd had back then would have heard some of those words, because when you're NJP'd and on extra duty, it's not a good time. You're a second-rate citizen wearing a uniform at that point. Like,
right. Yeah.
You were treated back then. So yeah, I won't go on that tangent. That's
it's all good. It's all good, man.
Discussion for another time.
Oh man. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Because I know we went back. So where were we? I don't remember.
All right. So I got to Cherry Point, went to career course, came back from career course. Then I deployed, came back off deployment.
Now where did you deploy?
I deployed UDP to Iwakuni. So
okay. I got you. Okay.
I came back, and after deployment, they told me I was going to go to a different work center, get that rolling. And that's when I got on that team that I was telling you. That was just so awesome. And a lot of the Marines that were on that team, a vast majority of them got out of the Marine Corps. I had one of them who I'm still pretty close with today is a retired gunny. So I got to see some of the guys that I worked with. He retired as a gunny. Had some that did inter-service transfers and became Army officers. So there's some good quality individuals that were on that team. But there was a good number of them that got out, but there were some. I had one that became an avionics officer, so he became an AVO, a restricted officer in our field. He hasn't retired yet; he's still in.
Okay.
But there was some really, really great Marines on that team. And that kind of started that whole ball rolling of just progressing towards the next step. Several Marines of the quarter come out of there, meritorious promotions, just really, really good kids. And then I was there. I got promoted to gunny. So my first look for gunny, I got promoted.
Nice.
Shop was doing really well. Got promoted to gunny. Opportunity to go on a MEU came out. I jumped at it. So right after I was selected, I said, hey, I'll go on the MEU. I volunteered.
Yeah.
They're like, gotcha. So they put me on the MEU. While I'm on my first workup, orders hit the system because I hadn't been stabilized for deployment yet. Orders hit the system to go to Okinawa.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So I go to Okinawa. I got orders to go to Okinawa. I promoted to gunny. I got pulled off the MEU and replaced. Executed the orders to Okinawa. And I went to be a part of the CG First Mile aviation inspection team. So
okay.
I was out and doing the maintenance inspections in First Mile.
Yeah.
I got over there in March timeframe of 2007. And I was there on CG staff. I left there in February of 11.
Okay.
They put
No.
stop loss. If you remember during that time, they put stop loss, stop move in effect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that impacted transition back to CONUS. When that happened, I was like, well, I'm not going to stay here for free. If I'm going to have to stay here, I'm just going to put it in an OER and I'm going to get an incentive for it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I put in an OER. And then when they lifted stop loss, I got orders to go to Pendleton. So I came out of when they took stop loss, stop move off the table. My OER, I ran my OER to the expiration, so I ran it to February of 11, and then I came back. So I ended up leaving 30 days short of the 4-year tour time, the rotation time. So I was there from 7 to 11. I came back, and as soon as I stepped foot on Camp Pendleton, I checked in with my Master Guns there, Master Guns Don Dilbeck. I checked in with him. I said, hey, I'm coming from First Mall. I know I'm just getting here. I need on the first deployment opportunity you have for Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me, this look, he's like, you just got here. And I said, yes, sir, I understand, but I don't have a combat deployment and I need the first opportunity to deploy that you have. I'll do whatever you need done. Just put me on the deployment. And he said, you got it. So he went to bat for me and got me a spot, got stabilized for deployment. I was in, I stood up. So the team that I had there, this is my second really good team that I had. And when I say good teams, it seemed like from the time that I was a staff sergeant coming back off that first UDP, from that time all the way through until the end, all of the teams that I was with were really, really great teams. And I mean that sincerely. That they're just awesome experiences. But so I stood up the first. They came out with a new version of the test station that I worked on. It's a mouthful: reconfigurable, transportable, consolidated, automated support system. It basically, the intent of this station was to be broken down and put in the back of a V-22, where it could be basically like a roll-on, roll-off support package.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that they did a proof of concept, and I don't know that they ever rolled one on or off of a V-22 after that. They put them in the white vans like you would see on the flight line at the mouths. They were actually configured in a white mobile facility, and that's how they were transported.
Oh, wow.
So the team that I had at Camp Pendleton, we stood up the first RT Cast Work Centers that supported the H-1s. We started it from scratch to include programs, all the maintenance programs, tool control program, all that. Ended up the initial group of guys that I had, none of them were of that occupational field. I took any volunteer that the Master Guns would give me to come over, that I told them I would train them. I'm not asking for A players, but you just don't give me your F or G, H, I, J, K player. I want people that were, I want people that wanted to learn, but that also, had a little bit of attention to detail too. So,
right.
I had 5 volunteers come over from one of the other shops on the van pad, train them how to do the job all the way down to operation of the station. And they pretty much filled the gaps until I started receiving the first Fleet Marines for the OC field. So of the, when I started getting the initial accessions, I knew some guys and gals from around the fleet that were pretty solid. So I called the monitor at the time and said, hey, I know you're going to start building my footprint of manpower. Would it be possible for me to do some by names on some individuals? And if they confirm they're interested in coming to work for me, would you allow it? And he said, yes. So I had 2 lap movers. One was an 01. One was an F-18 airframer. Excuse me. He was power line. One F-18 power line guy. I had an 01. And then I had some fleet guys that I had worked with previously, brought them in to work on the team. And then I said, don't send me any other Marines from the fleet side. I want all initial accessions from this point forward. That way we can grow them the way we want them. So we got the first group of and sessions. I had two 24-year-old Lance Corporals fresh out of boot camp from Texas that came in on the buddy program. I had a 28-year-old Lance Corporal that was from the up in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area.
Wow.
Named Scordo. I'll never forget that guy. Had a PFC that had been NJP'd, busted from Lance Corporal to PFC, Joseph Denson. He was tragically killed in a car accident a few years ago. One of the funniest kids I've ever met in my life. Good-hearted kid. But yeah, he had been NJP'd, and they weren't sure whether they were going to send him from the schoolhouse, and I told them to send him to me. I'll take him. So he came in to work for us. He ended up being a really good kid. He got a NAM as a Lance Corporal.
Nice.
Yeah. During an inspection, he got Bravo Zulu'd and got a NAM as a Lance Corporal. Just a really, really good kid. Yeah, that team was awesome. Built the work center up from scratch. They ended up doing exactly what the shop had done that I had in Cherry Point. They didn't have the throughput of maintenance that was coming. They took care of everything. Everything was clean. They were really solid PT scores, meritorious promotions, all that stuff. Like, they're just good kids. They worked really hard. And then I got orders, or didn't get orders, but I got the opportunity to deploy. I went on 12-1 for OEF. Got out there in January of 12. Some pretty wild stuff happened out there in 2012.
Yeah.
So in January of 12, one of the tail booms on a 53 Delta snapped. That's the one that had the aviation mishap that killed that team.
Yeah.
That happened in January.
How many were killed during that?
I can't remember the total number, to be honest, AJ, but we inspected, I'm pretty sure that was HMH 463 that had the mishap, and we inspected them when I was with First Mall. So there were some familiar faces out there. It really hit home for a lot of people, because you go out on those inspections, and if you go enough times, you see the same faces. You start to build relationships with those guys. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, there was a lot of hugs and tears going on out there during that time. We also had, I don't know if you remember this one being in the news, but we had the Third Country National that tried to set a truck on fire and drive it into an aircraft out there.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
That happened. That one was, that guy died a couple of days later. That one was pretty wild, because he ended up, whatever he had as an accelerant, he spilled it on himself and caught himself on fire, wrecked the vehicle in the ditch, jumped out of the vehicle, and they turned the dogs loose on him. So not only did he get burnt, but he got ate up by the security detachment. So yeah,
double whammy.
He took his lumps for sure, but he ended up passing away. He stole a vehicle from the British side out there, from over.
No kidding.
That's where he got the vehicle from, and then
wow.
He ended up completely unrelated. He just intended to drive it in the aircraft. He didn't know that there was no type of information out that SecDef was even coming on deck. But yeah, that happened then, because he did a big speech out there on Leatherneck, and then it's pretty wild experience that kind of went full circle. So while we were out there, we were taking some gear down to Kandahar. Had a CASVAC come on board, and the CASVAC was actually a service animal. The dog had stepped on a landmine, or stepped on an improvised explosive device, and it shattered its leg. They ended up, we weren't sure at that time. We were asking if the dog was going to make it, and they said, they're going to have to take its leg. A couple years later, I was watching the Rose Bowl parade, and that dog is on one of the floats for the Rose Bowl parade, Luca. So Luca had a Facebook deal that was online. Luca, we were on the CASVAC for that for
Holy
Luca.
Cow.
And I ended up meeting. So my family had a litter of labs here in the last couple of years. This is where it kind of comes into play. The one of the handlers for Luca, handlers or trainers, runs Semper Canine up in the Alexandria area up in Virginia. we donated a lab to him to train for a service animal for a veteran, and they named that puppy. We named her Addie. It's after one of the guys that I served with. His name's Brad Atwell. He was killed during the attack on Bastion in August. But the kind of the circle of it is that dog was assigned to a Marine retired Chief Warrant Officer, and he keeps with her identification badge. She has a picture of Brad. He has a picture of Brad on her vest on the back of it, and a story, like a little write up of Brad, and where he grew up, and how she's named in his honor. But it just how life will bring you in a circle is that. The handler that was with Luca when she was injured was a young corporal, and I think he was her second handler. The first handler ended up adopting her, and then that's how, when you see her, then the guy that runs Semper K9 is actually one of the ones who was, involved in her training. So, yeah, it's pretty wild that to see, like, had no idea if she had made it, and then ended up seeing her during the Parade of Roses, and that was that happened probably in the May timeframe. I think that was in the May timeframe of 2012 when we were on the Kazbak with her.
Wow.
And then of course we got moved off of Leatherneck over to the Bastion side. They put us in a new LSA out there. We were right next door to TCNs, which was unusual. But we were right next door to TCNs out there.
Right.
We did a move of all of our assets, brought, our fixed wing aircraft came up from Kandahar. They parked them on Bastion. Within 90 days is when the attack on Bastion happened.
Right.
I was sitting on Coronado Beach when I got the call that Brad had been that he had been killed in that attack. But he and Lieutenant Colonel Rabel were both killed in that attack on Bastion.
Yeah. Now you said you weren't there at that time.
I had left in August, and it happened about 30 days later.
Okay. But
that time frame, that year was there was some pretty wild stuff happened out there. That was also the year that. That time frame was the same time that they cleaned out the detention center there in Bagram, and when they burned the Koran, and the media took off with that. And we were in Kandahar when that happened. We took IDF that night, of course, and then
wow.
Then they took our aircraft off the schedule, had it rolling, doing a rotation through Bagram first, and so we had to wait for it to go through Bagram and then come back to pick us up to take us back to Leatherneck. But, yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff happened over there in 2012. It's pretty wild.
Man. Yeah, that big attack that happened there, man, that was just wild in itself.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the full outcome of the whole thing was and how it all panned out as far as the investigations and stuff went.
Yeah.
But it was wild.
Yeah, it blew up. Big time, the investigations and everything. But yeah, that all went down. I came back from Afghanistan in August. They pulled me up to be basically kind of like the company gunny up in the front office. They pulled me up there to do that. I was up there. I got back in August. Found out I was in the below zone for Massard. I'm like, okay, I'll go take my picture. I'll go do all the stuff I got to do. Wasn't even worried about the list. Like, I'm in the below zone. Like,
right.
It'll come out when it comes out. And then I get an email right around the 1st of December, right after Thanksgiving. It says, hey, the zones have changed while the board's in session. You've been pulled in. And at that time, I was like, man, I'm glad I got my photo and all the other stuff. then you start worrying about it, right? You're like, where's the list? Where's the list? So, yeah, a couple weeks go by. Results come out, and selected for Master Sergeant.
Wow.
And
so officially you were selected in zone.
Officially in zone, yeah. It wasn't a below zone selection because I was pulled in. That's right. So Find out I'm selected. So now I'm going through the slating process of figuring out where they're going to send me. Our OC field, we had an ESC, so they get together and do an ESC in January, and they work through all of the selectees and work through with the monitor to determine like what's going to be next. That way they can. Right. It's really to make sure that you're being well-rounded. So if you do eventually go to Master Guns and you've had opportunities in different environments.
Yeah.
So, when I got selected, they called me around the 10th of Jan. Well, it was right after the holiday weekend. Sometime it was either the week before MLK or the week after. I get a phone call. He said, "Hey, we're looking at you to go to Fort Worth, Texas." Now, my son was in East Tennessee, and I had been Okinawa, and I'd been in California. So I was trying to get closer to him. And I said, "Would it be possible to get anything on the East Coast? I'll take anything you got. Just, I just want to be closer to my son."
Yeah.
Well, they called me back. He said, "Give me just a few minutes." Well, the Master Guns I talked to said, "Give me just a minute." He called me back. He said, "Yeah, we talked about it, and we can get you into Fort Worth, Texas." And I was like, 4th Marine Aircraft Wing. Like, there's not a whole lot happens in 4th Marine Aircraft Wing.
Right.
And they said, "Well, it's closer to Tennessee than California, ain't it?"
Well,
I said,
"Well, wrong."
Yeah. I said, "How soon do you need me there?" He said, "Well, how soon can you get there? Because they're mobilizing to go on deployment. They're a reserve F-18 squadron." And I said, "Well, everything I own fits in my car. So
dang.
when do they mobilize?" And he said, 1 April. And I said, "If you put the orders in the system, I can be out of here in 2 weeks."
Wow.
And they put the orders in the system. I transferred I got orders. The orders hit the system around the 15th day of January in 2013. And on the first day of February, I drove off Camp Pendleton going to Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a small TMO move of like maybe it was bedroom items.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. And I transferred and went to Fort Worth, Texas.
Holy cow.
So I checked into VMFA 112 there. We mobilized, like I said, in April.
Uh-huh.
We deployed, we punched right after the 4th of July weekend in 2013. So I hadn't been home. I've been home 11 months. I didn't even have a year of dwell time.
Right.
So deployed again, another UDP, Far East. So
okay.
Went through in Iwakuni. We spent some time over in Korea doing exercises. At Kunsan.
Okay.
We went to Malaysia. So I was at Butterworth in Malaysia. We were down there for a period of time doing some exercises. Nice. We flew Malaysia. The Malaysian Air Force, they actually fly Sukhois. So they have the SUs over there. So we did some flights with them in the pattern, F-18s and Sukhois. And then we went to Guam for a period of time. Was in Guam from Thanksgiving until either just before or just after Christmas. And back to Iwakuni, and then we flew off from Iwakuni and came home. So during that UDP, we did Lava Viper 2 in Hawaii. Of course, got to Iwakuni, then South Korea, Kunsan, Malaysia, Guam, back to Iwakuni, and then back home.
Wow.
Awesome deployment. One of my Marines ended up getting a Marine Corps Aviation Association. He got the Paul G. Vess Award for the Avionics Marine of the Year for the Marine Corps.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's a gunny now. He's Sergeant Eric Smith. He ended up being the MCAA award winner that year.
Wow.
Dual qual kid. Did trail crew when they did trail crew, both going into Iwakuni and trail crew coming home. So last guy, the first guy out followed trailing aircraft, and the last guy to come home. Really, really great kid to work with. But that whole team, Thomas Creedon, gunny, Scott Kupris, staff sergeant. I think he may be a gunny now. Some of the other guys have gotten out. Another Marine that was in the shop, Mahoney, he ended up getting the same Avionics Marine of the Year award down the road several years later. Nice. But when I tell you that I worked with some really great people, I mean that. some really top-notch folks. So we came back from deployment, and one of the Marines that was over in the MALs got selected for Master Sergeant. So they decided they were going to flip us, and I was going to go be the avionics chief in the MALs, and he was going to come to the squadron. And I had grown up in the MALs, so I didn't want to leave the squadron. I loved being around the squadron, being there with the aircraft, the Marines. Like, that was a lot of fun. So I went over to MALs. I was in MALs 41. I was the avionics chief there. Ended up during that time, ended up serving a period of time as a senior enlisted advisor. Of course, it's active and reserve, so you're doing training, things like that.
Oh, right.
But the other thing I forgot to mention during the 112 stint is most of your reservists, and this applies to the MALS time as well, but most reservists, they don't have a lot of the higher level qualifications because they're not there enough to get those higher level qualifications. The only way they really get them is if they mobilize, deploy. They work on them while they're activated. They get them while they're activated, and then when they go back to being a drilling reservist off of active orders, they have those qualifications. But a lot of the reserve Marines that we had, both deployed with the squadron and the ones in the MALs, they ended up getting higher level qualifications because we found ways to bring them in either on ADOS orders or whatever we had to do to get them in there to get them more quals. So there was a lot of really good stuff that happened during the tour there.
I mean, that's pretty cool to me is being able to bring these guys like unconventional ways to get them there to get their qualifications that they need, right?
Yeah, we would find ways to try to get them into training. Like if there was money available where we could send them to advanced training for their MOSs and things like that, like we would try to do that and bring them on ADOS to pay for it. It's all about money and timing with the reserve kids. The ones that are in college, usually the class, if it's an advanced training class, then it needs to align with the summer break or something like that where they have those opportunities to go. And then you have to realign their AT period. So they do an alternate AT in order to facilitate that training. So you have to get creative in how you work it. But one of the kids, kind of a highlight of that time, we had a kid there who had it's kind of crazy. The reservists, as you know, they go through their training. They're on active duty until they're assigned to their first duty station.
Right.
And then once they come to you, they're no longer active. They're now drilling reservists. So everything that they knew for the last year to 14 months changes in 24 hours. So there's no more of the active duty paycheck popping in your account every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. So I had a kid that had a hard time with that. And he sought some assistance from mental health. He called us. He told us that he was having a hard time. We got him linked up, found it because he was living out of his car. So we found him, helped him find a place to stay in the short term, helped him, he secured a job, helped him, walked him through all that stuff. And he got a letter from UMed saying that he was being med set just out of the blue, and that he had, because the Navy doc down there had submitted him for med set for mental health separation. Well, we had already, by the time that came through, the kid already had everything established and was killing it, like doing new girlfriend, everything.
Yeah.
Gets this letter and says you have 30. The response must be postmarked. If you wish to request if you wanted to, basically to appeal the decision, you had 30 days to respond, and it tells you it has to be postmarked and all that stuff. He said, well, what do I do? I said, you wait till the 29th day and you submit your letter for appeal, and that gives you time to start talking to legal counsel and figure out what we can do from here. So long story short, we worked through that. We went through the first appeal. The first appeal came back denied. So now he sends, we submitted a second appeal. You can appeal a second time.
Right.
By the time we did this, we had legal counsel, and legal counsel, they're the ones that got involved with the second appeal. That kid ended up getting to stay. BUMED got lawyered, and it didn't really work out too well on their end. It didn't go to the end that they wanted, but we took care of the Marine, and he got to stay. And that kid got out, and he's killing it right now, man. Has a family, young children. That's the kind of stuff to me that's meaningful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
you see the goodness of taking care of kids and seeing them be successful. But every now and again, my phone will ring. I'll get a call from him. Hey, want to let you know everything's going good. And hey, it's pretty cool to hear from them. That lets you know you did something right.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
That's really cool. Did that tour at 41, and then was told that I was being considered to go to MMEA. Got selected to go be the 64 and 6600 monitor at enlisted assignments.
Now that's you're doing that as a master sergeant?
Yeah, went up there as a master sergeant. I checked in up there in checked in April of 2016. Sergeant Major Will Carter was my sergeant major.
Okay.
Will ended up going down. He finished up on Parris Island. Really great sergeant major. Always took care of us. He always offered me opportunities. I went to, while I was up there, I'd already been to SEPME, but while I was there as a master sergeant, they had a group of us go over and attend the first sergeant's course. The senior enlisted legal course. So I went over and went through the first sergeant's course pipeline with those guys, kind of like they had a first sergeant and a master sergeant team with newly selected first sergeants. And we worked together and was kind of like a mentorship team, kind of like what Rick and Kelly had there at SEPME. So went through that. Really good time with those guys. But yeah, Sergeant Major Carter was fantastic. Kind of a funny story. It's in the gym. Was working out. Blood pressure dropped. I passed out while I was doing incline bench. Passed out. Dropped 2 dumbbells on my face. Fell over. Doing the funky chill. I mean, out, brother. I remember watching the light leave. Like,
wow.
Off. When I came to, I was on the floor on my side. I was kind of shaking. And in my mind, I was telling myself to stop shaking, like yelling at myself, but nothing was coming out of my mouth. My buddy, he was like, "Hey, what's up? What's up?" I was like, and then finally, when I could start talking again, I don't even know. Like, I just said, I don't know. I got lightheaded, and I got up. I got water. I went out. We had PT that morning. Well, you didn't go to the gym. You know how this goes.
Yeah.
You don't go to the gym and see your peers at the gym and then not go to floor PT when you in a headquarters Marine Corps element. Like, you don't do that. You don't do it in the fleet, but you don't do it there.
Yeah.
The first thing you're going to say, this guy's out scamming. Like, what's he doing? He's not part of the team. Like, this isn't good. I PT'd that day. Heart rate running like 190 while I'm out running with these guys. And I mean, I'm dying. And, ended up, Will, he didn't fuss at me. He came over and he said, "Hey," he handed me a Gatorade. He's like, "Drink this." And I was like, "Okay." So I started drinking it. I was like, "Everything all right?" He's like, "You tell me." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I heard you passed out in the gym this morning." I was like, "Who told you that?" And he said, well, Vic told me that you passed out this morning in the gym and he had to help you up. And he wasn't supposed to tell you that. And, he said, "You're going to the hospital, right?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm fine." And I pulled back into the park, went home. I took a shower, came back. I pulled into the parking lot and I get a phone call, and it's from Vic, the guy that was in the gym with. He said, "Hey, where you at?" I said, "I'm in the parking lot." He said, "Just stay there. I'm coming." I was like, "Why are you coming out here?" I was like, "I got work to do." And he said, "Will just came over and said, you're not coming to work today. I'm taking you to the hospital."
Oh, no.
So they take me to the hospital down Stafford. They took me to the hospital down there. And I walk in and the lady said, "Can I help you?" And I'm talking normal, nothing.
Yeah.
I said, "I passed out in the gym this morning. Not really sure why." They said, "What time was that?" And I'm like, 5:45. And it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
She's like, "You passed out at 5:45 this morning and you're just now getting here?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am. I was kind of told I had to." And she said, "Well, what have you been doing since then?" I was like, "I went to PT." And she looked at me because her husband was a Marine. She's like, "You Marines are just dumb." And they take me in. I got clowned for a month because they put a fall wristband around my arm, and Vic took a picture of it. So I got clowned for that.
Oh, geez.
I'll show you if it's all right.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Made me go to the hospital. And I'm bad for this because I don't hang my stuff up yet.
Yeah.
Everything you see hanging on the wall is because of the goodness of my wife. When you leave the Marsh Center, they give you that.
Nice. Yeah.
The Marsh Center in the rear view, and then of course everybody on the floor, they all sign it, but it's still in the package for the frame. I've never taken it out.
Nice.
I told my wife's like, you need to hang your stuff up. I showed her yours. I showed her your wall on.
Yeah.
I showed her your wall when you're on the podcast and you're on TikTok. I showed her. She's like, you need to hang your stuff up. Yeah, one of these days I'll find the wall that I want to put it on and I'll put it up there.
You know, I was told, I was a gunny at the time, I was told by my master guns, and I didn't have anything. Like, I think I had like one picture or something up of me and the family or something in my office. And he walked in and he goes, I know you've got stuff. He's like, you're going to hang it on your wall. And I was like, why? It's my stuff. And he goes, is it hanging up anywhere? I was like, no, it's sitting in a box somewhere. And he goes, you bring it all in here and you hang all your stuff up. And I'm like, why? And he goes, it's not for you. It's for your Marines. It's a conversation starter. And I was like, huh. I never thought of it that way ever.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's for sure. But yeah, I did my time at MMEA. Some really, really, one thing about working up there is that everybody up there is just incredible. Some of the, it's like going to like senior enlisted PME. I felt the same way. You're in a room with a group of individuals who are just phenomenal.
Right.
And it's pretty humbling when you're sitting in the same room with a lot of those, that you're in the company of those great people. And MMEA was exactly like that. I was working with some of the best people that I've ever met in my life, and just not only great Marines, but just great people. And that's a job that nobody wants. But if it's an opportunity that presents itself, it's a job that I would encourage anybody to take, because it is, it's a crazy experience. You see some pretty wild things. I found a deserter while I was there, while I was
kidding.
Yeah, sure did. Found a deserter just going through and reviewing Marines tour, basically the time that they had been in certain geographic locations. Had a Marine that that was in my population that had been, he had been on, basically they had, they basically had these augment billets that they had put in up at the Pentagon to do like security type work, things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And he had been sent up there in 2013 or so.
Okay.
And I started looking at it like, hey, that billet doesn't exist there anymore. I need to get him back to the fleet. So I start trying to contact him, not getting anything back from him. Keep looking for him. Can't find, no phone number for him, no anything. Doesn't have a fitness report in the system for like 2 years. It's nuts. So I keep digging on it. Finally got a hold of my former XO in Fort Worth. Was actually activated, and he was working up at Henderson Hall. Contacted him. It's like, hey, I'm trying to find this guy. Can't find him. Can you help me, get in contact with somebody who can help me track him down? Put me in contact with the S1 officer. Told the S1 officer everything I was seeing. She's like, let me get you in touch with the first sergeant. So now I'm talking to the first sergeant up at Henderson Hall. And like, yeah, I can't find this guy. I was like, I'm not getting anything back from an email. He doesn't have a fitness report. I said, and you guys are running height weights and PFTs and CFTs on him on the last day of every 6-month period. I was like, where's this dude at? Yeah. So yeah, they ended up looking. So I started looking for him on Facebook of all places, and I find his profile, and I noticed that he's mutual friends with somebody that I was friends with that I knew really well.
Okay.
I got a hold of him. I was like, hey, do you know this guy? And he's like, yeah, I know him. I was in A school with him. I was like, where's he at? He's like, well, it looks like he's like overseas somewhere. He's got all these pictures that either like Philippines or Thailand or something like that. This is no joke, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So he sent me pictures, and now it's like, okay, I briefed Sergeant Major Carter. I had to brief my section head, Mr. Spooner, that's up in MMA. Yeah. I briefed him on it. He's like, how'd you find this? I was like, managing data. I was like, I just came across it, looking at it, nothing looked right, trying to find him. Yeah, guy was a deserter. They ended up putting a retain, basically like retain is when he comes back through first point of entry, like retain him. So he came back into the States. They retained him, brought him to Quantico. He ended up going to a court martial, and they put him he was in the kitty for a while, man. They ended up, I think they busted him down to E1. He spent 90 days in the brig or something like that. And
Whoa.
then, when all was said and done, no one had seen him in like 2 years. He said that he put in, when they were doing the Terra deal that period of time, he said he submitted his Terra paperwork, and they told him to just go home and wait for someone to respond. So he did. But no one could corroborate that at all. Like no one. It's the dude with the red stapler sitting in the basement, still getting paid. Only he was overseas. Yeah. Yeah. I'll never forget that kid's name. I know the name. I'll tell it to you offline.
Yeah. That is wild.
But yeah, I had to give a statement on, how I found it and all the other stuff. And
it's just crazy that it never came up anywhere.
No fitness reports. And that was, I thought I was honestly afraid for leadership at that point, because they're running height weights, CFT scores and PFT scores on them on the last day of the month of every semi-annual period. June 30th, December 31st.
Somebody had to have known.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, whether they knew, I mean, you know how large Henderson Hall is. I mean, Henderson Hall, so none of those guys in the headquarters element are going to know. They're relying on the leadership down at the low level to take care of them kids.
Right.
Somebody knew he was gone.
Mm-hmm. And was running something for him.
Yeah. Don't know how you wouldn't know, but yeah, that was pretty wild. That was the wildest. That was the wildest story that I have from MMA, was finding that.
And it was 2 years he was
he'd been gone for 2 years.
Basically.
Yeah, 2 years. That was the only reason you could say that was the last time he's accounted for, is because he didn't have any more fitness reports.
Yeah.
What was the wildest thing was the master guns that was in charge of his section when he transferred to the Pentagon was the wing master guns in 4th Mall whenever I was at Miles 41 and at 112.
Okay.
So he called me and said, hey, are you looking for this kid? And I was like, how do you know? I hadn't even talked to him about it. He's like, the first sergeant from Henderson Hall just called me asking me if I had any recollection of like when his last fitness report would have been, if I'd had any contact with him since the last time I'd seen him, like anything. And I was like, this is kicking off, man. Like, this kid's gone.
Wow.
That was pretty wild. And then, so I finished up my time there. Got orders. They said they didn't think that I was going to be in zone for master guns for 2 more years.
Okay.
And they didn't want to leave me at MMA for 4 years. And I didn't want to stay in MMA for 4 years.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
I left MMA a year early.
Mm-hmm.
I went to New River. They wanted to send me to another Miles. I said, no, can I go on a MEU? They're like, no, the timing doesn't line up. I said, okay. Do you have a VMM, Osprey squadron that's going to be deploying anytime soon? And they did. 266 was going out on SP MAGTAF.
Okay.
I went out on SP MAGTAF with those guys and another awesome team. One of my kids just found out he got selected for warrant officer.
Nice.
A good number of those Marines. I had 5 tier 1s in my work center that year. Mm-hmm. Legit tier 1s, both CO tier 1s and, by computation, really good kids. All of them had NAMs in grade. All of them were CDIs. Those kids all got out. All of the tier 1s got out because they pulled they had said there was going to be they called it a maintenance kicker. You'll see it it's in the SRB message. It's a bonus that they pay if they have those qualifications. They pulled it off the table for the V-22 kids, and they pulled it off the table. Those kids went home. A couple of them worked as contractors supporting the airframe, so they were still out doing the same work, just not wearing a uniform.
Right.
They did that for a period of time, and then they've moved on to other things. But some really solid kids on that team. SP MAGTF went really well. We actually flew the ambassador into Tripoli.
Very cool.
I'll send you a picture of it sometime, but I have, those little pocket flags that you get from the USO.
Yeah.
I got one of those and gave it to the section lead for the flight that was going out. And I got a really nice certificate back saying it was flown over the shores of Tripoli. And I've got it in there with the bureau number of the aircraft and all that. So
yeah,
I got that flag over in a folder. I'll send you a picture of that sometime.
That's cool. I like that.
And then I finished up in 266. They said they didn't think I was going to get selected or be in zone for Master Guns for 2 years. I went in zone while I was on that deployment. So,
geez.
We got delayed by about 30 days because of Florence, came through and just havoc in the eastern North Carolina region. We hadn't even made the first payment on our house down there yet when that hurricane hit. We got lucky. We only lost 120 linear feet of fence.
Wow.
Nothing too crazy. We were really fortunate. My good friend Timmy, he's a retired Massar, and his house was just completely destroyed. He lived in Swansboro. They took on 50 inches of rain in 36 hours or something like that. His roof failed.
God. That's
really bad. Yeah. But went on deployment with those guys. SP MAGTF went really well. Did the ambassador thing. Spent time there in Sigonella. Then went to Marone. Was in Marone for a period of time towards the end of the deployment. Then flew off to Rota and got ready to de-snell the aircraft and come back to CONUS. Got selected for Master Guns and promoted while I was out there. That's pretty cool. I quit drinking in 2012, so I left it alone. I stopped drinking alcohol, but I've had one beer since then that I can remember off the top of my head. But it was that night when got selected, me and a buddy of mine he was the maintenance control chief, and I was the avionics chief. We both got selected for Master Guns. I just went over and knocked on his door. He had been passed the year before, so I knocked on his door. I was like, "Hey, man, congratulations! You got selected for promotion." And I handed him a beer, which was his, out of the fridge, and I said, "If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to have one with you." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." We had a beer that night and celebrated. It was a pretty good time. And
very cool.
Came back. I was in MALS 26. After being selected for Master Guns, I went over to be the avionics chief there. Ended up doing kind of dual hatting as the senior enlisted advisor and the avionics chief while I was there. As soon as a command deck finds out that you've been to First Sergeant's course, senior enlisted leaders legal course, and that you've been did a tour at MMEA, they pull you to the command deck.
That makes sense.
Not a good time. I did have a good time because the command deck was awesome. I had really good officers and senior enlisted up there. But yeah, great division there. Did great things. One of the gunnies I had there got selected for Massar 2 years ago. He's out in Iwakuni now with the F-35
Very
squad.
cool.
But yeah, some really good times there. Finished. I was there I got to 266. So I did 266 from 18 to 19. I did 26, MALS 26 from August of 2019. I left in April of 2022.
Okay.
And I went to Aviation Sustainment Branch at Headquarters Marine Corps at the Pentagon. So I was up in the aviation hallway up there. I was the Ockfield sponsor. Had 17 occupational fields.
Dang.
Yeah. So the aviation maintenance and the avionics occupational fields have the most occupational fields underneath their hierarchy. So my buddy Mike Nyla, he's the retired maintenance chief up there at Headquarters Marine Corps.
Yeah.
He had 30-ish, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 occupational fields. I had
Holy cow.
Had 17 occupational fields, had 110 to 115 master sergeants, anywhere from 29 to 35 master guns. So we did the slating for those guys as well.
Oh my God.
We did one of the cool things that we did up there is we developed, which from scratch with no lessons learned, no anything, we developed the first MQ-9 maintainer package for the MQ-9 unmanned aerial system. So they just started. We have, there's aircraft already being flown in those entities for the VMUs. But yeah, we did that project. We did a couple of different manpower initiatives. We did some case studies as far as retention. Some of those things go. But there's a lot of the stuff that's done at the strategic level. It's pretty dang awesome. I enjoyed the job. I really enjoyed doing that. I worked with some really good people up there. Chief Loan Officer 5 Johnson was the assistant avionics officer there, and started with Lieutenant Colonel Chris Harden, who's just a fantastic leader and Marine and friend, and then Lieutenant Colonel Edwin Rodriguez took his place. But just worked with some great people. Again, an MMEA-like environment. You're working with some really just top-notch individuals.
Right.
Tour was going really good. Had shoulder surgery in, I guess that was January of 23. About a month and a half later, my wife almost passed away. She went into septic shock. Almost. She was within everything that the ER doctor and everything that we learned after the fact, that they said that she was minutes from passing. Her systolic and diastolic on her BPs were almost touching. So they were 20 numbers apart. And the way that they explained it is if the numbers touch, it's cardiac arrest. So
holy cow.
Yeah, she was crashing, got her in. They immediately started her on some high level antibiotics. I'd never seen a Army captain and a Navy lieutenant commander nurse before until that night. There was an Army captain, Navy lieutenant commander, a civilian doctor standing in a corner telling them what they needed them to do. One was putting fluids in her arm on one side with like a compression pump. The other one was doing medications, and then they had fluid drip on the other arm to try to get as much fluids in her system as they could. She spent about 36 hours in ICU, got out of the woods on that. I started having thoughts about maybe, punching early, because life is short and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And in May, our first grandson was born.
Okay.
And when Theodore was born, I was like, you know what? I started having thoughts about, I miss my son growing up, and I'd like to be there for as much of my grandson growing up as I possibly can. You can't ever fix that. You can't fix the past.
Oh, yeah.
You can try to do the best you can for the future piece. So I was working promotion allocations for E9. Was sitting there doing the numbers, and I had a picture on my cubicle to the left of the farm here. I was looking at that picture, and I was looking at the numbers. I kind of looked at the picture a minute. I looked at the numbers. I added one.
Plus one.
Added one, printed my Appendix J, filled it all out, submitted it. I didn't even talk to my wife first. I called her. I said, "Hey, I'm retiring." And she said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Yeah, I'm retiring." And she said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Listen, if I'm calling you today to tell you that I'm retiring, it's time to go home, then I'm positive. It's time to go home." So submitted my Appendix J, recovered from the shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
Got her medical stuff all squared away. She ended up coming home in November of 23.
Okay.
I geo-batched again. So I skipped some stuff, but she and I have been together since 2012.
Okay.
The latter part of 12. We got married in 2014 after I came back off deployment. And then we were pretty much bachelor. I was GO bachelor from 2014 until 2019 when my stepson graduated high school. I didn't want to take her away from home because I didn't want there to be any resentment or anything. And I wanted her to be home, to be there to support Lane through his, through high school and everything.
Yeah.
So when he graduated, she moved in full time. Anyway, I kind of closed that gap as quick as I could, but yeah. So we did the GO bachelor. So when she went home in November of 23, I was GO bacheloring again. So she came home. We bought the house that I grew up in, which is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Did all the retirement stuff that you have to do. Got all that locked down. She got all of her doctors and everything in order here. And I retired. My last day in uniform would have been sometime around the it was the day before deer season last year. That's how I strategically planned it. I did my ceremony the day before deer season so I could go hunt the next day.
Very nice.
I retired last September. My uniform, they gifted me a Foot Locker, old school Foot Locker.
Yeah.
And the trays, they turned them into glass cases. They gave me an M9. Cool. So there's an M9 in there, my ribbons, shooting badges, little plaque, my flag. So they flew my flag. I asked them if they would fly my flag over the Marine Corps Memorial up in DC on the first day of August. So they flew the flag was flown up there on the 29th anniversary of my enlistment over the memorial up there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, my good friend Vic, he took care of all that stuff for me. Made a nice display for the certificate for the flag. Yeah, it's in the top of the Foot Locker, so when you open it up, you see it there. And then cool. My last set of camis and boots that I took off, green skivvy shirt, cover, everything is all in the bottom of it. That's where I put all the stuff that I wore on the last day that I wore it. So,
wow.
Came home, got a job as a government contractor. So I work remote here. I go up to Pax River, Maryland 1 week. I'm required to go 2 days a quarter. I typically go up there 1 week every other month, just because I like to be in the office and stay in the know what's going on internally and things like that.
Yeah.
I work remote from home now. My wife works remote for a company called First Spear. They're a tactical equipment company out of Fenton, Missouri. Very
nice.
They outfit MARSOC, DOE, a lot of the other guys with armor and whatnot. So that's who she works for. And just living and enjoying retired life, man.
Yeah.
I started looking at the timer and I saw 2 hours and I was like, oh man, we've been talking a while.
yeah, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. No, I've been having fun, and we were getting close to the end of the Marine Corps career anyway, so it's all good. Yeah. Usually I try to cut it at the 2 hour mark, but I'm like, no, we're close.
Yeah. So now I have 2 grandkids. My second grandson was born back in April. Or March, so 6 months old. April, 6 months old.
Yeah. And they're all right there in that area, right?
So my son, his wife, and my grandson, number 1, are down in Knoxville. And then my stepson, his wife, and grandson, number 2, are here local. So they're within 20 minutes.
Very nice.
So I'm close enough in either direction. I can see my grandkids.
Yeah.
I can leave here 7 and they're quick. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. It's not bad at all. Yeah. No, it's DC to Fredericksburg in bad traffic. So it's not bad at all,
Which is only like 20 miles, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. No. But yeah, it's, my wife asked me if I regretted retiring early because I retired 7 months short of 30 years. Yeah. And she asked me that a couple months ago. And I just kind of told her, I'm like, babe, if I hadn't retired 7 months early, I'd be on terminal leave right now. So if you ask me if I regret it, I got 7 months to spend with my family every day that I want to. Then I don't have to take leave. I was home when grandson number 2 was born. I was on leave when grandson number 1 was born. So yeah, I don't regret leaving early. But I'm sure like you, I miss the people every day.
Yeah.
I miss my friends. I miss talking to them as much as I used to, and the banter, and I miss the banter more.
It is different though, once you're gone, and especially the guys that are still active duty. it's different talking to them. I mean, you still do, but it's just not the same, you know?
Yeah. I try to avoid talking about, the work thing more than I have to, because now I'm doing secure comms for aviation. So I still talk to some of those guys about secure comms related stuff and that side of the business. But it's more from I'm a non-advisory discussion on what's going on outside of my own office, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
I'm working in that capacity, but I'm enjoying it, man. The Marine Corps was good to me, even when I wasn't great for it. And I wish that you can wish things to death, but if there's no, I ended up being a Master Gunnery Sergeant in the greatest organization on the planet. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, man.
And after the beginning, would I like to go back and change things? Well, yeah, absolutely. But pain retains. So
well, yeah, there's something to that for sure.
Pain retains, and I went through my share of it. So
oh yeah, man.
Mostly.
Well, one heck of a career, man. So I've enjoyed listening to it. So
yeah,
thank you.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the podcast. Like I said, talking about it and looking back at it now, it kind of puts a smile on your face. I don't really sit down and talk about like what things that I did or places I went or anything like that. So this is a really awesome opportunity to do that. And just for me to you, thanks for what you do. I listen to what the things that you talk about for people who need to contact the VA or to request assistance or things like that. I mean, you're an awesome voice for those of us that have punched out from, the everyday grind of being in uniform. And I think it's awesome too, being on TikTok. These young kids are coming in and they're asking you questions, kids that are in the depth, things like that. And
I got to be honest, the TikTok thing is all fairly new for me. So I've been on it, but I haven't really done a whole lot with it. So I started doing these more live things, and I can't believe the response I'm getting. It's insane.
There's a big community out there, both that are interested or that have served it. Like myself, I just happened to be panning through it and came across it. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then when I saw you that your drum major, your drum caps and whatnot, I was like, what I told you in chat, Mike Gardner, he was a drum major for Drum and Bugle Corps headquarters, up at 8th and I. He retired in the 98 time frame. So, I know of Mike, and I've talked to Mike when I've seen him at home, but my dad went to school with him, so he knew him.
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty cool to see that, and then it kind of hit home because knowing that Mike was drum major too is pretty cool.
Yeah, small world, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. It is nuts.
Yeah, it's definitely, and you can't be a stranger, man. You're gonna have to come back on and come on some of the fireside chats every now and again or something, Yeah,
it'd be pretty neat. Even if nothing else, just to have a good conversation. I mean,
yeah. Absolutely. Well, hey, man, let's kind of wrap this up, and we'll do these rapid fire questions. All right. Here we go. What is your proudest military moment?
I got two of them: the day I started and the day that I finished. Those are my proudest two. Getting there and taking the step to do it, and then knowing that I finished it. Those are my proudest moments.
That was good. What's your most embarrassing military moment?
August 14th, 1998, non-judicial punishment.
There you go. Oh, man, that's good. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Sergeant Major Carlton Kent. That dude is awesome.
Yeah. That is a good one.
If I could slide into someone else for 24 hours and just understand what it's like to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
I had never met Sergeant Major Kent in person. I had heard him speak when he would come out on road shows. And my wife and I were in the exchange on Quantico, just walking through an aisle, and here comes Sergeant Major Kent in a suit. He'd probably been to a meeting or something. Yeah. He'd never met me in person. He'd never met my wife in person. We talked to him for 5 minutes and felt like we'd known him for the entirety of our lives. Just an awesome Marine and leader.
Wow. That's awesome. I've never actually got to meet him. I've heard about him. Never got to meet him though.
Yeah.
All right. If you could change one rule in the military, what would it be?
Ooh.
Just one. You can't change them all, man.
If I could change one rule in the military. Dude, that's a tough question.
I know.
That's a really tough question. I can tell you because I haven't agreed with this one since they started it, because I feel like I think they need to reverse course with, even with my personal experiences and the maturity issues that I dealt with early in my career. Yeah. I think the 4-year sergeant rule, I think that they need to take another look at that. And the reason I say that is we had very, very proficient sergeants, young sergeants, leading us through combat years before they put that in place. And we weren't complaining that they were not equipped to handle that level of responsibility.
That's a good point.
And I think that every case, if you're going to have a promotion panel that makes a determination of whether a Marine should be promoted or not, then the decision of whether that Marine should be promoted or not should be up to that panel and that Marine's commander.
That's a good point, man. I like that.
Yeah, that's a rule that I would change. And I believe, and this is an opinion, I think they changed that rule more for monetary reasons, funding reasons than they did for
I could see that.
Physical reasons.
Yeah, I could for sure see that. All right, man, here we go. This is a tough one. In the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice and what anthem would be playing?
So the anthem that would be playing, I think I like Click, Click, Boom. I think that's the anthem that would be playing. And funny line that I used to hear from Gunny Dunn when I was in career course is, you give me a sasser. You give me a sasser. What was it he used to say? You give me a javelin and a sasser and a good bologna sandwich, and I could impact some lives, is what he would say.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all about his fried bologna sandwiches. So yeah, you give me a javelin and a sasser, and I just have a good old time.
I like it. All right. What animal best describes your time in service?
Remember that squirrel and over the hedge that drank Mountain Dew everywhere?
Yes.
So the reason I say that is because I was all over the place. All PCS moves, doing things you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, I was the over the hedge squirrel, all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That was me.
Man, what a great movie! It's one of my all-time favorite movies, to be honest.
Who's going to compare their service to the over the hedge squirrel? That'll never happen again.
Man, I love that movie. Jeez. All right. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Yeah. But if I could take the knowledge that I have now and go back and start all over,
would make it easier.
Not only would it make it easier, but you could really avoid a lot of the self-inflicted wounds.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. All right. This is when I give you an opportunity. Words of wisdom or anything that you'd like to leave for the listeners.
So I thought you might ask this. So today I did a communion meditation at church. So I'm just going to read the last little paragraph of this. It just says, "Be reminded that while the world may forget, God does not. His love is everlasting, his covenant unbreakable. Let this be a moment where you rest in the assurance that through Jesus, you are part of a story that will never fade. And it's not your story, it's his." So that's what I'm going to do with.
Dang, that's good, man.
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, the longer you spend in the service, the more it becomes less about you and more about them. So hopefully the one thing that I would tell everyone is that it's more about their story than yours.
Yeah.
When you walk away from it, you're not there anymore. And you know what? One day when they walk away from it, it's just like Jerry Maguire. You take your goldfish, you walk out, and everything else keeps moving.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
Yeah. Very true.
You're there to do what you're supposed to do, but you're there to make sure that the next generation is successful. So it's not
Right.
It's not your story, it's theirs.
Man, that's good, dude. Dang,
That's what I
there's
would
a
say.
reason I had you on here. I think that was it, man.
I think that's the one time in the podcast I haven't been all over the place. So
Chris, man, thanks for coming on and doing this. I'm excited that I met you. I'm definitely going to have you back on. Two peas in a pod here. I think it's been good.
yeah,
So,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, as always, toward the end of the podcast here, we always talk about veteran suicide and ways that they can get some help. So we will do that again. To everybody out there, if you are struggling, you need help, don't forget the VA does have great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Chris cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, man. One last time. Thank you. Don't leave me after the outro. We'll come back here. But to everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.